Hi, I'm Alexander Dishes, and I wanted to make a tutorial on how to install a JBL bypass wiring harness on your 2004 through 2009 Toyota Prius. If you have a relatively new aftermarket head unit, you'll definitely want to do this modification to get much higher quality sound out of your car, as the newer stereos have much better built-in amplifiers than the JBL unit can provide. For this job, you'll want to buy a Metra AXABH-TY4 wiring harness, as well as some type of crimps. I prefer butt crimps, and a 10, a 12, and 14 millimeter sockets to remove various parts of the dash and the chairs, as well as a Phillips head screwdriver. Come on, let's get started. The 2004 through 2009 Prius audio system with the JBL speakers works by sending the signal from the head unit to the JBL amplifier underneath the front passenger seat, which sends the signal to the door speakers and the tweeters. The way the JBL bypass harness works is by cutting the JBL amp out of the loop. The JBL bypass harness fits into the system by connecting the speakers directly with the head unit. The heart of this job is to feed the bypass harness from under the front passenger seat all the way to behind the head unit. And to do that, we'll need to remove the front two seats, as well as peeling back the carpet at the front of the car to give us access. The first step is to pull out the front two seats. And to do that, we'll first need to unplug several connectors at the bottom of the chairs, and then pull the seats forward, and then undo all of the bolts holding the chairs onto the rest of the chassis. Each chair is held in with four 14 millimeter bolts. Impact drivers help a lot. Once you have unhooked all of the fasteners, taking out all the 14 millimeter bolts, you need to get the chair out of the car. And the easiest way to do this is to take off the headrest and pull the chair on its side like this, and then move it out like this. See the link in the description for a better front seat removal video. Now you want to take out the center console, and to do that you'll need to remove two 10 millimeter bolts here, and then you want to open the cup holders up, pull off this plastic paneling, and then take out all these screws here. There's also two connectors behind the center console underneath the plastic cover you need to remove before you can remove the center console. See the video in the description for more details. Okay, poof, it's out. Now we want to pull forward the front carpet. And to do that, we have to take off a lot of this side trimming here. And there's clasps underneath there, and for most of these pieces, you just kind of pull up. There's probably better videos for this. And basically, we're going to start from up here. So we're going to try to take off all the side trimming, take off all the clasps that we see, and we just want to peel it back enough that we can get a wire to go from here, which goes to the speakers, all the way down behind the head unit, and plug into the speaker wires. Before we can take the carpet off, we need to remove the old JBL amp, which is held into the car by three 12 millimeter bolts here, here, and there's another one under here, so we have to take off the cover. And then you gotta unplug the JBL amp. These are all the speaker wires.
Once you have removed all of the cables and bolts from the JBL amplifier, you can lift it and remove it from the car. You will not need to reattach it during reassembly, as it will no longer be used.
You also want to take out the navigation computer.
The navigation computer, located under the driver's seat, is removed the same way as the JBL amp by undoing all of the bolts and cables. It will need to be reattached during reassembly.
To take off the cover for the gas latch, you need to take out a 10mm bolt right here.
Now peel back the carpet underneath the front two chairs. See the video, which is linked in the description, which has a much more detailed description of how to peel back the carpet.
All right, so now we've got the carpet peeled back from the front, and we have a clear shot from where the speaker harness is down here to where it's going to go in the back of the dash. So the next step is to pull out the dash. Again, you should refer to all the excellent videos on YouTube that show you how to take out the dash. You'll also want to disconnect your 12-volt battery before taking out the head unit. And there's a lot of videos on YouTube that show you how to do this. You don't have to take it out, you just have to get behind the battery and unplug the connector that connects it to the rest of the car. So this step is really simple. All you have to do is take the bypass harness and plug it into the audio cables, and your sound should work.
Haha, nice one, Alexander. Please see the video linked in the description for how to take out the dash and hook up the steering wheel control harness called the ASWC1 from Metra. This harness allows you to retain steering wheel controls when using your new stereo. Follow the Metra 78117 manual for connecting the audio cables. You will also need the Metra dash kit containing the harness for hooking up other parts of your stereo to the car. All items are linked in the description.
So here's the bypass harness, and I've covered it with this braided shield here just so it goes through the car nicely. And here is the harness that goes to the rest of the speakers in the car, and you just plug it in. Make sure it clicks. All right, now the other side. It's really long, so you may need to cut it down to size. These are the individual speaker wires, and you have to connect them with some type of crimp to the corresponding speaker wires, so refer to the head unit manual to figure out what speaker wire is which. And the manual for this Metra harness, which you can find on Crutchfield, also tells you which wire goes to which speaker.
The tweeters and woofers in the front have separate input wires, where the back speakers are passively crossed over somewhere after the speaker harness gets the signal. I plugged only the 4 standard speakers coming out of the head unit at first, and only got sound from the front tweeters and back tweeters and woofers. To get the front woofers to play audio, I connected together the separate front tweeter and woofer input lines on one end of a crimp, with the single line input coming from the head unit. This is all described in the bypass harness manual linked in the description. In the original setup, the JBL was tasked with actively crossing over the front speakers, with the back speakers getting a passive crossover.
Problem is keeping track of all these damn bolts. I've already lost one. This is not good. Okay, so this thing comes off like that, and then
You can run the wires up the center where the other 3 existing wire bundles are going. There is enough clearance for the cables to make it directly behind the dash.
So before you reassemble everything in the car, you want to plug in your 12-volt battery and test that all the speakers work. So let's test it out. Okay, everything powers on. All right, head unit looks good. See if we can hear some music.
Is this Codex?
Sounds good. Steering wheel controls still work.